Alright, so today we're going to replace the valve cover gasket on the S50 and my M3. It's been leaking for a little while, it's running down on the headers, and I finally got all the parts in to do this. So we're going to go ahead and get that swapped out. So all these parts were ordered from FCP Euro up in Connecticut, and they're pretty much my go-to guys for any OEM replacement parts for all my Euro cars or all the Euro cars I've had throughout the years. I live in Jersey, so shipping's quick, their prices are good. They do lifetime replacements on like pretty much everything, like oil and filters even. That's where these parts came from. Shout out to those guys for doing what they do, and check them out and make sure to order your parts from them next time. It's hard to see, but down on the headers on the exhaust side, it is leaking a little bit of oil. You can kind of see on, my bad, I'm trying to get rid of the shadows. You can kind of see there on the bolts and all, it's all leaking oil down there. So it's best we start to jump on this problem before it gets too bad and just switch the whole gasket and all the bolt grommets out while we're in there. So I've done this before on my M52 Hellrock coupe that I had. I kind of forget if I took the cowl out. I'm gonna see if I can do it without taking the cowl out. But yeah, we're just gonna have to pull the coil packs out, push them out of the way, unbolt it. There's a couple other little things that have to come out, pull the valve cover off, swap that gasket out, get it back in. So yeah. I really wanted to do a new valve cover because all the studs for my beauty cover are broken off, but me and John were talking about maybe doing a catch can setup. So I'll keep this valve cover on the car for a little bit, and then maybe we'll just do a whole new valve cover with the catch can setup with the AN lines welded in. Connector's unplugged. If I remember right, there's a bunch of 10 mils that actually hold the packs into the valve cover and a couple grounds. So we're gonna pop those off. Now that they're all out, I'm gonna take them out and try to lay them out so they don't get mixed up. I'm sure it's not the biggest deal if you mix up which coil pack goes where, but I'd rather keep it all how it was when I took it apart. Yep, so I got that out, table set up, and I'll line them up in the order they came out of. Now we just get our wires out of the way, pull the valve cover bolts out themselves, and then we'll be able to get the valve cover off. See, now I'm just gonna pull all these 10s out. There we go. Let's this thing out without breaking anything. And there's your valve cover for your S50. So that's your S50 without the valve cover on. You can see down there the spark plug hole gaskets I was talking about. We'll swap them out too. Like I said, if you watch the other videos on it, somebody did say this motor has been rebuilt, and I'm looking at the cams and all, just from what I can see. This shit does look pretty fresh inside. So I might believe it now that it's been rebuilt at some point. So there's our old gasket all taken out. It doesn't look like there's any RTV on it, which could have been the reason it was leaking. I did forget to get RTV, but I will run out and get some tonight and to finish this job up. But RTV does go in a few places on these gaskets, just to help prevent leaks, like around the back two little bump outs and where the Vanos meets up here. I'll show you guys when we get to that. All right, so we're gonna need some Permatex to finish up this job tonight. So I'm gonna run over to AutoZone. I don't wanna leave the valve cover off overnight or anything like that if I don't have to. So we're gonna run to AutoZone to get some Permatex for it. All right, I had to run to AutoZone, grab some Permatex. I grabbed some black Permatex. The color, just make sure it's for oil and some kind of temperature and sensor safe, and it should be good. I grabbed the black, and I think it'll show up a little bit better on video when I go to mark the couple spots you're supposed to put the Permatex on. I got an OEM Victor Rhines one from FCP Euro again. Let me get it swapped out and pressed into the valve cover, and then we'll start putting it back together. Again, I want to make sure to clean up all your surfaces. scrape off any RTV if there is any on there. It doesn't seem like mine had any on it, but I'm gonna clean it all up. I also ordered the grommets for the bolts. The old ones and the new ones look a little different, a little bit misshapen from being old, but we're gonna put the new ones in and hopefully it doesn't leak. I'm just prying them out with like a little screwdriver. So yeah, you pretty much just get your flathead screwdriver and just go under them and just pry them out. They come out pretty easy. So I'm gonna run through, pop all the ones out I can get, throw the new ones in, and then we'll get over to putting the valve cover back on. This is pretty straightforward, honestly. You got your spark plug holes right here, your spark plug tubes. Old gasket part just pulls right out, and your new one goes right back in. They fit real nice over the spark plug holes, so you can get a nice good seal on there. Do that back one. So boom, they're all done. So there you go, new spark plug hole gaskets, spark plug tube gaskets. And then now I'm gonna show you guys where you're supposed to put Permatex on these valve covers. There's a couple spots that will prevent your valve cover job from leaking after this. Your 4 spots are gonna be the seams right here next to your vanos. So you got one seam here, that'll get a little dab of Sikaflex or a dab of Permatex. There's another seam down here. Well, let me get some better light for you. There's another seam down there, right here. That'll get a dab. And then your 2 dips in the back, towards the back of your cams, which would be like this part of the gasket, that'll get a little dab of Permatex. Those 2 bumps on your gasket. So we're gonna put some Permatex on there. I got the black, so hopefully it'll show up in the video easier. That way I can show you guys where it goes. There you go. So now you guys can see, I got my Permatex on the seams. I know, I'm sorry about the shadows. Permatex on the seam down there, and then back on my 2 dips, the back of my cams. It's gonna be really hard to see that, but that's all Permatex. You don't need too much, but don't be afraid to use some on it. That actually is BMW service recommended that you use some kind of sealant on that, and it should be fine. It goes up to 500 degrees, but it's not an exhaust manifold. It's close, but it's not an exhaust manifold, so that should be fine. Shouldn't have to worry about any issues after that. So we're gonna go ahead, put our gasket down, and start going back together with the whole thing. So we're gonna go ahead and lay our gasket down in here. I'm sure somebody out there probably uses like gasket maker all the way around the edge. Once you get these studs lined up and on, you get the 2 divots in the back, it actually lays pretty flat itself. So then I can bring the valve cover over and we'll start bolting it back on. I'm really hoping my little grommets stay in there for the installation of this. Oh, and they didn't, of course. All right, well, I'm gonna have to find those, or the majority of them. But hold on one second and clean this mess up. We'll skip ahead, you don't have to watch all that. Okay, new valve cover gaskets in, grommets in, all the bolts are started by hand. On valve covers like this, you're gonna wanna do it in like a middle to out pattern. So I'll probably start in the middle and then like cross, I don't know. I'll make sure I can get the whole valve cover in so I can show you my sequence I'm gonna do. These only get torqued to around 8 foot-pounds, so you don't need to kill them. So let's get started with that. So I'll start in the middle and then I'll just work my way out. So wait 1 second and this will all be back together. All right, everything's back together. Coil pack's back on, oil cap back on. Battery's dead right now. I'm not even gonna worry about starting it. I mean, there's really no point. I pretty much know it's not gonna leak, it's fine. Not sure if the grommets are the right part. I gotta look into it. They didn't seem like they fit perfect, but again, I'm not really worried about it. These motors are pretty resilient, and I doubt it's gonna leak oil out of the little grommet. That's gonna be a wrap for this video. Shout out to FCP Euro for always carrying what you need for your European car or whatever you're doing at home to it. Definitely check them out. and order your next parts from them. Like I said, I'm from the Northeast, I'm from New Jersey, so they get here really fast. Never had an issue with them, and they have a bunch of lifetime deals and replacements and warranties. So go check them out for sure. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe. We got more videos coming on the E36 soon. Black Friday's this week, so I'm definitely gonna order some parts on some sales. Hopefully more fun parts than maintenance stuff. So make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.